We are saddened by the news that it was a baby's fate to die from cot death, or that of a toddler to be mowed down by a drunk driver who plowed through the fence of a garden where the child was playing. Beyond a humane, emotional response and for practical reasons, we need to accept that such tragedies happen for a reason, however nebulous to us. The reason is that of karma needing amendment. We can be as sentimental as we wish for as long as we wish, but we must not forget that a child's soul is in fact quite an ancient soul, which has a purpose to fulfill in this lifetime. If this means being incarnated in a particular baby with a preordained short life, so be it. I am coming to accept that such a child's karmic purpose in this lifetime is to give the ones who are grieving the predestined wake-up they need in order to tend their spiritual self, which is not necessarily the response generated by personal loss of this magnitude. Often, in fact, deep grief drives us further into our mechanical selves and makes us even more dependent on emotional crutches. What? Lesson not learned? Okay, like at school, we will be given another opportunity to learn what we must, either in this lifetime, next, or in the ones after that. Our karmic rendezvous is locked into our energy field, and our nemesis is set on course. Not unlike a sleeper spy, nothing can prevent our destiny from happening, neither how good we may have been or think we are, nor any geographical distance, however great. Though we know such things happen all of the time, here is a sample confirmation of what I'm talking about. This is a headline from a newspaper article. At the time I was writing the original file. It went like that. Crash bus had been overtaking. The tour bus that crashed in Egypt, killing 6 Australians, overtook a second bus just before it rolled, the operator of the tour said today. Witnesses have stated that the driver had not been speeding, that he had been driving well up to that fateful moment, and that there was no explanation for his decision to overtake at that specific moment. The bus driver survived, but he has to process his role in this tragedy. Again, the bus, like the chest, is only the instrument. Here is another massive headline that really had me thinking hard about karma when I first came across it. Here is the article. Lawyer shot down, aiding woman. A Good Samaritan shot dead after going to help a woman in distress in Melbourne this morning was a 43-year-old solicitor. The unnamed lawyer was one of 2 men who went to the aid of the woman who was struggling with a man near a taxi on the corner of Flinders Lane and William Street in the Melbourne CBD at about 8:15 a.m. In all, 3 people were shot before the gunman fled. The solicitor was shot in the chest at point-blank range and died at the scene an hour later, despite the efforts of the paramedics. The other man who attempted to intervene, a 30-year-old backpacker, is in a critical condition in hospital after surgery. The woman, 24, is in a serious but stable condition in the intensive care ward of Royal Melbourne Hospital. Police said this afternoon they had identified a person of interest believed to be the gunman. This sad story appeared on the front page of my local newspaper, the Courier Mail, on the 18th of June, 2007. Like that of most, upon hearing the news that such a nice man had been blasted in the chest at point-blank range in such particular circumstance, my first thought was, how unfair! Moria, however, was quite quick to point out that his death, like all other deaths, particularly violent ones, happened so that the survivors have a chance to redirect, amend their lives by looking inward. Their karmic mission is to refrain from knee-jerk responses intended to pacify the ego persona, whether by seeking vengeance as opposed to justice through the courts, or revenge beyond the courts, whether by indulging in endless grief or by becoming agoraphobic or bitter or nuts or whatever, further starving their soul and adding more negative entries to their energy field. If this happens, then truly it can be said that that person's death will have been in vain.